New York City certainly has unique geography, with the 5 boroughs scattered across 4 different landmasses. As a result, there are a whole lot of NYC bridges, 2,027, to be exact. 10 of those NYC bridges have landmark status, meaning they play a significant role in the city's heritage. All NYC bridges are hallmarks of their neighborhoods. For instance, Washington Heights is always in the shadow of the George Washington Bridge, and Dumbo has countless photo ops under the Manhattan Bridge. The following shares information about some of the city's busiest bridges.
A glorious, double-deck behemoth of a suspension bridge, the Verrazano Narrows connects Staten Island and Brooklyn. More commonly known as just the Verrazano, the bridge looms over Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn, a southwestern neighborhood known primarily for its military base with the same name. Many New Yorkers take the Verrazano to travel to Jersey and the rest of the East Coast. While New Yorkers have been lobbying for a bike or pedestrian lane on the bridge, it looks like it'll be a while before that ever happens. The bridge remains car-only and requires a toll.
The Brooklyn Bridge pedestrian walkway is open to pedestrians, bikers, and wheelchair users. This neo-Gothic beauty is one of the oldest roadway bridges in the United States and is easily the queen of all NYC bridges. A hybrid cable-stayed and suspension bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge connects the financial district in Manhattan and northeastern Brooklyn, spanning the East River. It was the first steel-wire suspension bridge ever constructed and now hosts a daily roughly 105,679 cars per day. FYI, bikes are also permitted.
The Manhattan Bridge running almost parallel to the Brooklyn Bridge. This suspension bridge spans the East River, connecting Lower Manhattan with downtown Brooklyn. Debbie Zolin, a real estate broker with Compass, has lived in Dumbo since 2006. In 2011, she bought the unit she was renting at 131 Water Street, which features units at eye level with the bridge and below it. While some might complain about the noise, Zolin says kids in the building love watching the cars on the bridge go by, and the building's triple-pane windows don't hurt either. There's even a neighborhood named after the bridge. Dumbo stands for down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass. The pedestrian walkway is on the south side of the bridge, with entrances at J Street and Sand Street in Brooklyn and Bowery and Canal Street in Manhattan, with the south side reserved for pedestrians. The north side of the bridge is open to bikes.
This bridge is also known as the 59th Street Bridge and, since March 2011, the Queensboro Bridge. This double-deck cantilever beauty spans the East River, connecting Long Island City with Midtown East and passing over Roosevelt Island. Note that you cannot reach this small, skinny island via the Queensboro Bridge. You'll need to take the Roosevelt Island Bridge, which connects Astoria, Queens, to the island. Or, you can take the F train. Are pedestrians and bikers permitted on the Queensboro Bridge? Yes. Both pedestrians and bikers are permitted on the Queensboro Bridge. Both paths are nearer to traffic than NYC bridges like the Williamsburg Bridge. However, the entrances to the walkway are on East 60th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenues in Manhattan, and Crescent Street and Queens Plaza North in Queens.
The George Washington Bridge from cliff to cliff. This impressive double-decked suspension bridge spans the Hudson River, connecting Washington Heights, a very affordable neighborhood for renters and buyers, and Fort Lee, New Jersey. The GWB carries over 103 million vehicles per year, making it the world's busiest motor vehicle bridge. It's also the largest bridge in New York. Right under the bridge lies Fort Washington Park, home to the Little Red Lighthouse, another neighborhood icon. Bizarro sees the GWB as a great amenity to Upper Manhattan because it allows people with cars to quickly get out of the city if they like to travel. Can you walk or bike across the George Washington Bridge? Yes. The same pathway is open to both pedestrians and bicycles. Note that the path is very narrow. The two entrances in Manhattan can be found at 177th and Cabrini Boulevard and 179th and Cabrini.
The Williamsburg Bridge connecting the Lower East Side with Williamsburg, Brooklyn. The Williamsburg Bridge shuttles 140,000 motorists over its span daily. It runs parallel to, but further north than, the Manhattan and Brooklyn bridges. David Soltero of Brick Plus Mortar has lived in Williamsburg since 2008, enjoys taking the Williamsburg Bridge into Manhattan, enjoying the skyline along the way. As a native of Los Angeles, the bridge served as his new personal landmark. When I moved here, the Williamsburg Bridge to me was amazing just because it was my new hometown bridge, Soltero said. It's my bridge. While the bridge can be noisy, Soltero said the vast majority of homes in Williamsburg are too far away to hear anything. While selling properties in a building on Broadway, he had some people coming specifically to be near the bridge, while others had their concerns.
The Robert F. Kennedy aka Triborough Bridge. This bridge is more of a giant conglomerate than just a bridge. It includes 3 different bridges, viaducts, 14 miles of highway, parks, and administrative offices. The bridges connect Manhattan, Queens, and the Bronx, making it the sole New York bridge to connect 3 boroughs. Hence, the name. There is a pedestrian walkway, which is not open to bikes. Unfortunately, there are stairs, meaning it is not wheelchair accessible. Pedestrians can take the bridge's Queens leg, starting in Astoria at Hoyt Avenue between 26th and 27th Streets, to get to the Randall's Island Walkway. Another walkway connects Randall's Island to Manhattan.
The Kosciuszko Bridge connects Greenpoint, Brooklyn, an excellent neighborhood for renters, to Maspeth, Queens. It may also be the most challenging NYC bridge to pronounce. Depending on who you ask, it's pronounced Kar-ski-o-o-s-ko, Kos-ski-os-ko, or Ku-shu-skor. The first bridge built on this site was erected in 1803 and was initially called the Penny Bridge. It charged 1 cent per passenger. Then it was destroyed, rebuilt, and destroyed again. Most recently, the city constructed a replacement in 2014, with the second crossing opening in 2019. The construction added a walkway and bike path, which hadn't been present on the bridge since the 60s.
Connecting the Bronx and Inwood, one of the most affordable areas in Manhattan, the Henry Hudson Bridge, a steel arch toll bridge that spans the Spuyten Duyvil Creek, connects the Bronx and Inwood. It was briefly painted green to help it blend in with the natural beauty of Inwood Hill Park. While it's now back to a standard bridge color, it's still visible from the many walking trails in Inwood and offers a pedestrian pathway to Spuyten Duyvil. On the other side is Henry Hudson Park in the Bronx, making it a great day trip to the outdoors. Bikes are also permitted on this NYC bridge.
As the epicenter of art, culture, fashion, tourism, and great food, it's no wonder New York City is one of the most famous cities in the world. With 5 boroughs distributed between 4 separate landmasses, the Big Apple heavily depends on a complex network of almost 2,000 bridges. It is amazing to think about how many bridges connect the island of Manhattan to the other boroughs of New York City. From the Brooklyn Bridge, famously built in 1883 in the backdrop of many famous movie scenes, to the elegant 14-lane George Washington Bridge, which connects New York City to the state of New Jersey. We will highlight some of the most famous and well-known bridges in New York City. In each entry, we will tell you a little about these big, beautiful bridges and what makes them one of the most famous feats of modern architecture in the Big Apple. Subscribe to us at YouTube at News Reviews Today and at www.newstoday.nyc.